Okay, so the situation is this. Yeah, you taking your love life in your own hands, family. You're like, I'm done sitting here doing this stuff. Um, the world's coming up here. Okay, for some of you guys, this is asking you actually to make the actual move, to take action. Because right now, the situation, you have the world coming up. This is a transition in your life, or a transition from leaving one chapter in your life and entering a new one. All right, and usually when the world comes up, your father Saturn here, this planet, your planet, as far as we know that's associated with you guys. He leaves gifts when the world comes up. This is his opportunity to say that, good job, excellent work, keep going. Pretty much like, Islam was like he gives you an A and then he gives you your next assignment. So this is, but like it's better than an A. He gives you an A and then whatever that prize was with that A that he said he would get you, if you got an A, you get that too, but then he gives you your next assignment anyway, right? So this is the situation, but the thing that's keeping you from doing that is that you have something you want, you have something that's eternal, and it's time for it to come out. It's time for it to be said. The King of Cups is very good at channeling his emotions and keeping it kind of to himself. But I feel like with the King of Cups here, um, the King of Cups is not keeping things to himself. I think at one point he had to digest and understand his own emotions, and I feel like at this moment in time, he's going to express that now. He knows exactly what it is that he's feeling. He's aware of what he wants. He's going to make it known. Now, in the past, you had the Two of Wands, so there were some decisions that you had to make in regards to what direction you were going to take. Okay, definitely that. And I feel like for a lot of you guys, it was an inspiring decision. It wasn't like a, oh shit, which way? It was more of like, all right, cool. So this is the options I've got. Which one am I gonna take? And I think you guys definitely decided on one path that you need to take to at least get to where you want to be. Now the Nine of Wands is interesting here because the Nine of Wands can indicate that you're traveling, can indicate that you have, because you have the world here, and the Knight of Wands, and he's known for travel, but I think that the Knight of Wands is more of like feeling that passion energy, going for what it is that you want, and making whatever your choice was happen, right? Just living it, living it, living it. But then you have another decision that you have to make that has a lot to do with, with value, with what's, you know, something regarding commitment here. Now, for some of you guys, I think the decision here had a lot to do with commitment. Okay, believe it or not, I think there was a lot of changes regarding commitment here. Now, for some of you guys, I have a feeling that for a lot of you, you had made a decision on something, you took a path, and at first you kind of felt like you were a little naive and underexperienced with it because of the Knight of Wands here. Because how you look at the underlying energy is King of Wands. Now, listen, ladies and gentlemen, just because kings come up in here does not mean that I'm talking about it being general, like being a male or female. It's totally general. You have to apply the energy to whatever it applies to in your reading. It's not it's not personal. So, which I do get specific in my personal reads, but just for the sake of everybody to try and be like, oh well, I don't have any kings in my life. No, don't worry about that. If you got a woman in here, she's coming up in here too. She just may be she may be coming up as a king in this reading. But the Knight of Wands coming up here is definitely opposing that Hierophant energy. These two do not rock together. Alright? The Knight of Wands don't conform to jack squat. But the Hierophant expects that. Hierophant is all about that, that whole committing kind of energy, the structure, the routine, the conformity. And I feel like for a lot of you guys were trying to understand where you guys stood regarding relationships. The kind of this, to me, it's weird that I'm getting that. But I feel like that's for some of you guys, not for all of you, and for a lot of you guys too. I feel like you guys may have been trying to stay single, trying to keep it, bachelor, bachelorette only. Just not even trying to consider a relationship. But I feel like there's something that always keeps driving you back to love, that keeps driving you back to a relationship. Whether it's a reminder of someone that you love, whether it's the feeling that you get when you're happy and it reminds you of them. And I know there's no cards in here that is talking about memories and things like that. And the only thing I really could go off of anything past related would be the Hierophant, because it talks about traditions in the sense of practicing old stuff that had been carried down from generation to generation. Now, the situation I'm also getting here is big time. I feel like for a lot of you guys, and I'm channeling a lot of this too. This is talking about a relationship with two people that are not technically the same. Now, we could talk about religion, we could talk about race, we could talk about age, right? And I feel like the age thing is the part that is really been an issue. I feel like that's why you guys have been trying to remain single, because perhaps the person you want is older, and that it's maybe you feel like this person's out of your league, or you're out of, or they're out of yours, or only based off of appearances, traditions, societal norms, etc. And I feel like for a lot of you guys, you may have felt like, if for a lot of you guys, you may be the younger one, or for some of you guys, you may be the older. Either way, there is some sort of age dynamic is coming to play here, but it's coming to an end here because of that world. I feel like there's something that's definitely changed with this with this choice that you've made, with the understanding of the relationship and the dynamics of race, religion, age, etc. I feel like there was something understood, and I feel like the emotions have never changed through that, because the King of Cups, whether this is somebody that's older, younger, or the same, older, younger, the same age, whatever, this person's feelings are going to feel the same. His emotions don't, are not impacted by what people think. So the Knight of Wands looks like this is, yes, travel. It looks like this is somebody that's dealing with a different age group or something like that. Somebody feels like they're dealing with somebody that's not a part of their typical norm, or outside of their traditional picks, or traditional, their traditional type. And this is why the Two of Pentacles comes up in the future. Perhaps somebody has to make a decision about what exactly they're going to do. But they know, you know what to do, because the situation is the Two of Pentacles. Everything goes back to knowing what you feel and knowing what you want to feel. What do you want to feel? Therefore, your Two of Pentacles will be easier to figure out. And I feel like there's the keeping of the balance and stuff like that. But I feel like for some of you guys, it's like you don't really know if it's worth the pursuing portion of it. It's very interesting reading so far, because the King of Cups is sitting right in between both of these individuals. So both the Knight of Wands and the Two of Pentacles. Some of you, I feel like this is an opportunity to explore your belief systems, to expand them. It's very Sagittarian energy. I'm picking up a lot of Sagittarian energy. And I feel like for a lot of you guys were definitely doing that. Now, the King of Wands is coming up in your underlying energy, which I want to talk about for a little bit, is very intriguing, because this is about action orientation, right? He's always doing something. He's always taking action. He's always, putting his passions in. Well, he's always doing what he's passionate about. And the sense that this is an opportunity that is arising, a second chance, and a second chance in which you have experience in already. It's not like the Judgment card. It's very, hey, you've gone through this already. Take advantage of this next opportunity here. You learn from your experiences. And I feel like that's what I'm saying. Like, you guys have learned from your experiences here. And I feel like focusing back to love is what you guys have learned. So the decision that you guys come up with here, this projection of your future being the Two of Pentacles, looks like you're just figuring out what it is that you're gonna do, or which offer is more appealing to you. I don't know if you're juggling two people though, because the Knight of Wands can indicate that there's somebody here that has commitment issues. Okay, the Hierophant coming up and the Knight of Wands can indicate, relationship issues. Someone that can't commit, or someone that has an issue with committing, or they feel suffocated with commitment. And the Knight of Wands, he does not conform. That's why I was bringing that before. He does not conform. And when it comes to the King of Cups, I feel like the only way that the Knight of Cups would kind of conform is if if this person was absolutely everything he wanted, or everything she wanted. So your goal and ambition is the Page of Cups. So it's like you guys want to communicate, talk from the heart, have a heart-to-heart conversation with somebody. And I feel like this is also your advice as well to communicate or to cultivate what you want, or to really not really cultivate, because I feel like you already know. I feel like this is you guys just kind of actually expressing now what it is that you want, or expressing your desires, expressing your feelings and your emotions. And your outcome is the Nine of Wands. Now, this is talking about a wall being put up, and a wall that has been up for a while. And it can indicate that you've been through some stuff, you're exhausted. But I have this feeling that you haven't given up. You haven't given up. And the wall that you may have has a lot to do with perhaps your emotions and how you feel about things, which will probably come into play when you make your decision. Because I think the biggest way for you to make a decision about what to do with these pentacles is by knowing what it is that that you feel has the most value. What do you enjoy the most? What makes you feel good? And that will help you make the decision regarding which one of these has value. I know this reading is kind of all over the place, but only because this is a reading that's all over the place. It's about finally taking action on what you want to do, and taking action on this relationship that you guys have, that with this King of Cups, perhaps someone that you are deeply in love with, someone that you've dreamt of. Even this is the King of Cups. He's the ideal lover. And I feel like the Nine of Wands may have been the blockage to all these things, but now you're letting your guard down, I feel, with the Nine of Wands. Even though it's not saying that, it's saying like, hey, you have a wall up. Your outcome is saying that you're going to be more defensive. But I also feel like you're not going to let this kind of defeat you. I don't think you're going to let this, this dynamic between you and this person defeat you. I think maybe that's why you guys are going to continue to fight forward and communicate. And romance angels. Wedding as well. That's interesting. Sagittarius got wedding. So, alright. So we got by the book and wedding. See, I was saying that. So I think this is a situation where someone's just hashing out the fact that there's some things that are not traditional in this relationship. And they're going to have to get over it. Either this person's older than you or you are older than them. The dynamic of the relationship is different in some degree. And it's against a lot of the things that you grew up believing. This person may be, wanting to do something different with how they approach growth or whatever. But the situation is that this dynamic between you two has not disappeared. It has not broken. And I feel like the situation is because no matter what society says, no matter what you grew up with, you have still the same feelings. Right? Out of all the things that are changing with the world, the King of Cups remains the same. And I feel like with the Knight of Wands too, I feel like if this is a connection or relationship with a Sagittarius, which it doesn't have to be, this could be just literally with somebody either with that's different in some way, shape, or form, younger, like I said. This is totally against societal norms for you, or societal norms, period, or against your family's wishes. Don't let people keep you in a box. If you're in love with somebody, then go for it. Go for what you want to go for, right? Go for what you feel is right for you, because honestly, you're going to be the only person in here that's going to be living by other people's standards. You're going to live by other people's standards? No. And by the book, it's saying just two cards that indicate the Hierophant. And the biggest thing is that the King of Wands does what he wants to do without any sort of approval from anyone, because he don't give a fuck. He don't care. He'll just do it. If he loves it, if he wants to do it, it's done. And I feel like this is the same situation with this. Some of you guys with this situation coming up here, the reason why you had to weigh the pros and cons is like, what is it worth? What is the value of going after your heart's desire? What is the value of betraying a lot of your your traditions? And it's like, well, simple. Do you want to live in a place of happiness? Do you really want to continue to live by someone else's code? You got to come up with your own code, right? Look at these elephants. They're walking in one by one. And typically, by the book is saying just stick within the tradition. Don't do anything outside the norm. Stay in the situation. But I have a feeling that this is talking about going outside the box. doing something that's outside the box. Do you see the Knight of Wands doing anything outside the box? Fuck no. Or doing anything inside the box, rather, staying within the whole, box thing. No, he does not. And I feel like this whole thing coming up is like, yeah, just do something different. Follow your heart. That's the biggest thing. Follow your heart. Make your own policy. Make your own religion. Some of you guys is maybe that you have a commitment issues because you're afraid to lose your freedom. And that's a hard one. You have to kind of trust yourself. But if you want something, but you want to not be attached to it, you can't have both. And I feel like that's why you have two cards in here that indicate, that are very close to the commitment here. This is the commitment card for as far as the Hierophant goes, and this is the conform card. And the commitment part is just committing to someone. Commit. And I feel like, here's the thing, though. It's like, it's weird. It's like saying, don't go in, don't let society just, decide for you who you date and who you don't. Live free, be open, all that craziness. Don't conform to other people's stuff. But then at the same time, it's saying to conform and to commit to someone because you are in love. You know who you love. Go for it. I feel like that's the thing. It's like some things are coming up in here that's saying to commit to someone, but don't let, society dictate who you conform to or who you commit to, who you want to be with. If you have been the person that has the commitment issues, you got to figure out why. Because ultimately, you're in love with somebody. The Nine of Wands could be that you're in love, but you're afraid. Or you're defensive because you don't want to lose the control that you've got of your own life.